Auburn Tigers sloppy in their first scrimmage. Today we discuss the latest on Auburn and what their head coach had to say about the scrimmage and some standout players to keep an eye on moving forward. What's going on, y'all, man? Welcome back to another episode. Appreciate everybody tuning in. This is from my Auburn fan base, War Eagle. Appreciate y'all tuning into the show. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, hype up this video. And we got a lot to discuss today when it comes to the Auburn Tigers. Okay, we're talking about the scrimmage and the things that we heard from obviously various news sources that cover the team more in depth. Touchdown Alabama, Jason Caldwell, obviously, and all the Auburn fan base, Auburn anytime as well. But let's talk about the good first, because the bad was the bad. But let's talk about the good first. And the good was Byram Brown. Okay. So first off, this is per Auburn on anytime. He had a 70-yard run untouched to begin the scrimmage, basically, on the very first offensive drive to set the tone, to set things off. 70-yard touchdown run untouched. That tells you all you need to know. That makes you feel pretty good with your quarterback being able to do big time things like that. Now, here's what his head coach had to say about his performance and what he was obviously able to do. I thought Byram had a really, really solid day. I thought he threw it extremely well. I thought the reads in the game were really, really good. It tells you all you need to know, right? He's riding and dying with his quarterback who came over from USF, played at a very high level with the Bulls, and now he's with his head coach at Auburn. And while some people made fun of what he looked like in the offseason, some of the throws that he missed, he's coming in with a vengeance. He's coming in to have a major season for obviously the Auburn Tigers. So I think that's a good sign early on. Okay, so that's some of the good. Let's continue with some of the good before we get to the negative, right? Omar Mapson, right? As we've talked about, he got some reps as the second team running back. And we know how hard he's been taking these reps. We know last year he had some carries. He wants to get more PT, but him getting that second team running back reps tells you all you need to know. You feel pretty good about, obviously, for Mapson. Now, another good telltale sign for the running back room and the depth of this as well. We haven't even mentioned the Kai Davenport. Bryson Washington got some work in with the first team offense during the scrimmage and did well per obviously Auburn anytime. That also makes you feel pretty good, right? Because we're going to pull a clip up of Jeremiah Cobb and what he did. But if you can limit his carries until about 12 to 15 per game and then use him later on in the season, you feel even better. Now, I'm not saying he's going to have that. It could be way more, right? It could be way more carries than that. But you're seeing the early remnants of guys stepping up, guys being able to get into the mix and make plays in Bryson Washington and Omar Mapson. I think that's a great telltale sign. And I think that tells you all you need to know about how good and the strength of this team is the running back room, right? And the next thing I want to talk about, staying on that theory, is this right here. Auburn, obviously, football posted it themselves and pretty much showed, like, yo, we're not playing no games. We're very serious about what we do. And here is the clip. At Auburn, we run the ball, right? So, yo, we're not here to play. We're not here to mess around. We're going to be hitting you in the mouth all season long. And here is, I believe, Jeremiah Cobb getting the touchdown run. All that tells me is this is a team that wants to run the football and they want to dominate and get back to the old Auburn ways, right? When we seen Cam Newton, when we seen the team dominating in the 2010s, they was running the hell out of football. They had a pretty good quarterback and they had a good running game that led to really good strikes down the field. You got Jeremiah Cobb. We just talked about Bryson Washington, and we just talked about obviously um, Omar Mapson. This is what Auburn wants to do, right? So I think you felt pretty good. Obviously, there's some sloppy things we're going to talk about, but you feel pretty good about the running backs. You feel good about how your quarterback performed in the scrimmage for the Auburn Tigers, right? That makes you give you a little bit of a, whew, okay, yeah, we can breathe a little bit. All right, feel good about that, but we can breathe it a little bit. All right, so that definitely obviously makes you feel good. Now, staying on the positive note before we get to the negative, Keyshawn Singleton was another one that stood out, caught a 25-yard TD pass from Byron Brown, as well as another TD pass on a crossing route, right? Because the biggest thing is who will emerge as the wide receivers this upcoming year. Well, Keyshawn Singleton put his name into the fray and said, hey, I'm going to be one of those players, right? Because it's a new-looking team. Everybody's gone. Aaron Six Jr. is at Florida, right? Cam Coleman's at Texas, right? Malcolm Simmons is now at Texas Tech. All these players ended up leaving and going somewhere else and deciding to play for another program in another school. Keyshawn Singleton has obviously showed, hey, I'm one to pay attention to. I'm one to watch out for, and I'm one to take notice of. All right, after his 2 touchdown performance. Okay, Stanton Ramil played the entire scrimmage. Obviously, he's supposed to be a big time offensive lineman for them. Cody Sigler as well on the defensive front. Looks like he dominated once again per reports. All right, he played pretty well. That's good news for the Auburn defensive line. And then let's talk about Tristan Tia. Still looks to be QB2 despite some INT problems, right? Now, this is what was said via Auburn on SI, and this is what the head coach had to basically say. Okay, so he said Tristan Tia has taken a majority of the 2 reps in the fall camp so far. He did some really good things today. He's still young, uber talented, but still young. We rolled Lachlan Hewitt and Roz Bush with the 3s today. They've rotated their all camp. They're competing like crazy there. And I'm excited about both of those guys too. So we'll reassess today and see. But so far, up until this point in camp, Tristan's taken all of the 2 reps, right? And obviously he's a sophomore, played at Oregon State. 385 yards passing and 3 touchdowns before coming over. Now, here's the last point I'm going to talk about with Tia. Tristan has taken monumental steps. He's really good first 7 practices, and then as install started getting heavy, you start getting into the heavy situational football. It started happening fast for him. I thought for the most part, other than one throw, I would tell you it slowed down for him today. He's got some gamer in him when he is out there. He's got a cool swag and cool confidence about him, and he's played a bunch of football for being so young. All right, so that is the latest on Tristan Tia, right? Obviously, INT problems, but coming along well and taking the 2 reps for Auburn and feeling pretty good. Okay, now as we talked about some of the positive, we've highlighted several players that played well, right? Now we got to get to some of the issues because this wasn't all good, right? I was going to talk about they got some things they got to clean up. You know what I'm saying? Sloppy first scrimmage, right? One of the issues was Brown had some issues with the snap, right? Fumbling problems, right? Fumbling them multiple times. That tells me there needs to be a better snap to quarterback exchange, right? That needs to be easier. That needs to be better because that's going to be important because if he is, and I'm pretty sure this offense is going to run an RPO style, he's going to have the ball secure in his hands, right? Because if the snap is off and he's trying to hit that mesh point with the running back, and that timing is off, that can affect the fumbles, that can lead to, you know what I'm saying, turnovers. Like, and you don't want that if you're Auburn, right? So that part has to get figured out humbly. So hopefully they get more reps in with the centers and all that good stuff. But that is a little bit concerning if you're an Auburn fan, and that is something you definitely have to get figured out if you're going to be a team that, you know what I'm saying, is going to get to where you want to go and be a sleeper. I think they're a sleeper this year, but that part for the Auburn Tigers has to get figured out, okay? So that's first and foremost of some of obviously the issues, right? Now we're going to pull up what he basically had to say. All right. You know, obviously the head coach Alex Gold. He said, overall, I just told the guys if we don't humble ourselves to get coached here the next 24 hours, there were some bright spots. It's going to sound like Coach Talko said there were some bright spots, but there were also some pre-snap stuff that is not how you function offensively, right? That's just what we talked about. Pre-snap issues affecting the team that obviously he's not too happy about with the center to quarterback exchange. Tells you all you need to know right there. All right. So he also said there was some tackling stuff that it looks like a second time tackling. And so we need a bunch of work tackling. We need a bunch of work perimeter blocking. We need a bunch of work pre-snap. We need a bunch of crowd noise work. I told the entire team, coaches, everybody, like, humble the heck of yourselves here. Coach, take the coaching. I would walk out and say, overall, a sloppy day. All right. Y'all see that? Overall, a sloppy day on both sides. That tells you a lot. Right, coach not satisfied. While there were some good things that we talked about early, he said a sloppy day overall. Right, I can make an excuse and say, man, first scrimmage, first time, we didn't look like a veteran team. We look like a team that has highs and lows and is emotional and rides with that, which is the complete opposite of what we want. Right, highly emotional, not what he wants to see. So a lot to work on, a ton to work on, and that's the truth to that. Says we got about around 115 plays for the ones and the twos, just a little bit over half of football. Goes to reporters, had some drives, did a backup situation, worked backup situation with some crowd noise stuff in there, worked a short yardage situation, worked on overtime situation within each drive. There's obviously normal third downs, red zone that came up. Really, really good work. Overall, put work some special team elements at the beginning, worked punt return, and then did a competition punt return period in the middle. Again, we've worked on a lot of scrimmage type situations during the first 9 days of camp. This was incredible for us to get everybody on the field, coaches up in the box, game day operation, TV timeouts, started with our full warm-up, tried to simulate what it would be like on a game day, We're 22 days out. We'll get another opportunity at that here this coming week. Okay, so that tells me all I need to know, right? All right. So when we break down what he basically just said and all of that, good article by Justin Smith, is he was not satisfied, and he's telling everybody to humble yourself, right? Not just the star players, because a lot of times that happens. Like, oh well, the players are too cocky, they're too this or too that. He called out the coaches too. Like the coaches got to be able to take the coaching, right? We got to get the tackling cleaned up, the pre-snap work cleaned up, right? You know what I'm saying? Red zone off. Like we have to get the stuff cleaned up if we want to be the team that we want to be this upcoming year, right? And we're going to see what they're going to look like against Baylor week 1 on September 5th, right? And I think goalless, rightfully so. The first scrimmage, you don't want it to be your best football. You want it to be some errors, some issues, some things you can work on, you know what I'm saying, moving forward. You don't want to be your best team August 15th or August 14th, August 13th when they had the scrimmage. You just don't want that, right? So I think, like I said, if they humble themselves, we know it's going to be a run-heavy team. If they can win on the outside with Keyshawn Singleton and some of those boys on the outside, and they can win reps, that helps them. But it should be a team, to me, led by the defense. But the defense, as he's limited to and talked about, has to work on their tackling. It has to be much better if they're going to be a team that makes a difference this upcoming season. If not, it could be a long year for Auburn. So that was obviously one of the big negatives, obviously coming from, camp. But we saw some good things, we saw some bad things, and we saw some things that they have to work on overall as a team and as a unit. And last thing I want to mention is they're working on red zone work per Jason Caldwell. Obviously, another good article from him this morning, putting emphasis on that because we know the power of the red zone. Now, the good thing is for Auburn, right, you're going to have a 3-headed monster in the backfield. Might even throw in the 4th in there with Nakai Davenport. But the good thing is you have the RPO game to your advantage, right? Because most teams are going to probably stack the box 8 to 9 in there. That's going to likely give you one-on-one coverage on the outside pretty consistently. I doubt they're going to have a safety or anything over top. When it's in the 20-yard line, you're going to be able to, I won't say run the ball. It's going to be tougher, but you can placate that off of different things, right? So if there's all this in the box, you can read that rush end and be able to get the ball out quickly, be able to hit things up the seam, and be able to get those throws in as well. You're going to have to keep them on edge. But red zone will be important because let's say you have a big play down the field and you're in the 20-yard line. You're going to have to be able to convert that to touchdowns, right? Cannot be field goals if you're going to beat teams this upcoming year. Has to be touchdowns, right? That's a major difference this year for Auburn that they're going to have to do. And the offense has to be better. It's just that simple. Defense was good last year, under Hugh Freeze, but the offense didn't cut it. But I think you have the quarterback to do it. You have the running backs to do it. The offensive line is starting to assert their will a little bit. So now it's just, can we be consistent in certain spots of the game, of the team, of the system? And if we can, this should be a big time year for us, the program, the team, and what we want to accomplish and what we ultimately want to do, right? So I think, that's going to be something to watch out for as well, man. But Byron Brown looks pretty good. Got to work on some of the snaps and fumbling issues. But overall, as a team, Auburn did what they were supposed to do in the scrimmage. Things to work on, of course, sloppy. Got to get the coaching. Got to be listening to people, you know what I'm saying, and got to get better. That's it. You can't be satisfied with where I am because if you think about it, who's really known on this Auburn team like that besides maybe Byron Brown, right? No disrespect to Mabson or Washington, any of those boys, but who's really known? To me, it's like everybody's trying to make a name for themselves. Everybody's trying to get out there. Everybody's trying to, take a step forward. Everybody's trying to, get this Auburn team back on the map, right? So you got to have that humble mindset in order to do that. Got to be able to listen to coaching if you're going to be able to do that. So it's going to be very interesting. But like I said, we plan to cover Auburn and follow them all year long. Y'all been running up the videos. So looks like we got a big Auburn fan base on the channel, man. So we're going to continue to follow them from afar. And whatever teams you guys want to see, like I said, my main 7 I'm going to try to stick to. But, whatever teams that you guys want to see or want me to talk about, please let me know down in the comments. And I plan to cover them in totality. All right. So make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Happy with this video. I will see you guys in the next one. And remember, as always, peace and love.